Hey you guys, I just wanted to make this quick video real fast. I wanted to talk about perception. What is perception? Perception is how you understand and view reality. Not true reality, but how you interpret it, right? So when we talk about perception of people, you could perceive someone to be loving, kind, and all those great things, while I could perceive that person to be a little hateful and spiteful, right? Why do I bring this up? So we had a resident in our facility that passed a few days ago. And the perception that her family and friends had was that she was a good Christian, loving, kind wife and mother, right? That was their perception of her, right? So the family came to the nursing home, and one thing that I noticed, and the daughter noticed too, that the staff members weren't really emotional when this woman passed, right? Now, when you work in a nursing home, you working with the elderly, you really form a bond with these people, you know. So I like to think that I have like 38 grandmothers and, maybe 6, 7 grandfathers in my building, because that's how I treat them. I love them all. Do I love them all the same? No, I love them all differently because they're different, right? But I love them all. So when majority of the residents, like if a good resident, not really a good resident, but if a resident passes, the facility is usually a little down that day. Everybody is emotional. They're bringing up all the good stories about the resident and say, oh, you remember when she said this or he said this and he did that, or that's what we do. We kind of reflect on that person's life, right? But this particular woman, her daughter sensed it that we weren't really emotional, because usually we're hugging the family members, telling them that their mother or their father is in a better place, things like that. But with this particular resident, no, that just wasn't happening, right? So their perception was totally different from our perception of her, right? Like I said, she was the loving, kind Christian woman that, friends and family loved. But for us, it was a different story, right? So majority of our staff are minorities, right? Majority of the CNAs and LVNs, they're from the continent of Africa. Now, this particular resident, she knew people's names. She knew our names, but she wouldn't say our names. She would say they, them, things like that, and we kind of know what that means. So our perception of this woman wasn't loving, kind, or Christian like. No, it was the opposite, right? So I tell you this just to say one thing, that you might think you're one way, you know, but how people perceive you could be totally different, right? And that's important because I think as humans we all want to be loved or liked to a certain extent, right? We don't, I mean, there's some dicks out there who just don't care. But for the average human, I think we do want to be loved and liked. So I want you to ask yourself, how do you think people perceive you, right? Based on your actions and your words, how are you perceived by people? By humanity as a whole, are you perceived as a good person, a loving person, a kind person, or are you perceived to be the opposite, right? Ask yourself. That's all I got today for y'all. Love y'all. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.